was a hypo, and I'm like, welcome to movie night, and yes, we need to talk about Wonder Woman 1984. Ah!
Can I say one thing quickly?
Yeah, go ahead.
I will say this. Unlike Birds of Prey, there's a shell of a good movie in this one.
There's a shell of it. But so Ross says, in short, ignored all the source material. True. And I love Cameron. Dear God, no! I love that. But
well, okay, when I say it ignored all the source material, depends on how you look at it or which part of the source material.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, like Max. If you're expecting sacrifice Max, you weren't getting him here.
Yeah, exactly. It was very clear what they were doing with Max Lord, but all right. So this movie was the biggest disappointment, short of Justice League, that I had for the DCEU, because I was obviously the first movie was stellar. And it's like, oh, there's a sequel, and it's going to take place 1984. I wonder if they're going to actually do like a surveillance story because it's called 1984. They definitely aren't just calling this so that they can tell you it's taking place in the 80s, are they?
They did.
That's literally it. And so let's start off with this. So we're going to go through this movie. And here's the thing about this. So Robert and I were talking about this before he went live. There is a shell of a good movie in this.
Yeah.
There is something in here. And we'll talk about each of the plot points that contribute to that could have been an awesome movie. All right. Let's continue. All right. Hey, what's up, Pika? And what's up, NJ? So here the movie starts off and we're getting like a look at Themyscira, and they're doing like an Olympic champions like style event. It's in honor of I think her name was like Astoria or like essentially Linda Carter. And
right.
It was their greatest warrior, and this is how they justify the golden armor later in the movie, which looks stellar, by the way. So Diana is participating in the contest, and she essentially cheats to make it, and then Antiope figures it out and then stops her from competing and says, no, you can't win by cheating. Which, okay, that's
never
great.
Take a shortcut.
That's great. That works. Again, the beginning part on Themyscira, that works. The potential is there. I've been saying that a lot this week. And then it cuts to 1984. Life is good, but it could be better.
Life is good, but it could be better.
And I'm like, it seems...
Okay, I'll say Pedro, I think he got International Max pretty well.
Let me put it this way. He could have even done Checkmate Max pretty well if given the
material. I'm just saying, given the version they were going with here.
But here's the problem. It tried to mishmash the evil Max with the International Max without understanding how to do it.
It's like he's the bad guy, but not really the bad guy.
Yeah, I know. And Maxwell isn't a Wonder Woman villain. Well, they got that from a superficial understanding of the story Sacrifice.
Yeah. And unfortunately, like he had, because Wonder Woman's the one who, it seems like whenever you have a character kill the villain, then they become their villain.
Which I'm like, that transitive property doesn't work. It doesn't math. That math isn't mathing. But anyway, so it's like
Black is night too.
Well, yeah, exactly. So Wonder Woman is like saving people throughout this city as she like goes about Washington, D.C., the city with the most security cameras.
Well, back then in the 80s, not as much.
Still, something would have gotten.
I think
her.
that's the other reason why they said it in the 80s.
Oh, that's true. But so then we get to, all right. So then we get to the mall scene, which starts off good, except so here's the problem. Patty Jenkins approached this like she was trying to make her version of Christopher Reeve's Superman. Which I'm like, okay, again.
All the influence from Jeff.
Don't even get me started about the fact that who was one of the writers of this movie?
Even though he worked on the first one too, but probably in a lesser capacity.
The first movie was written by Heinberg.
True, but I'm saying Jeff already made additions.
Here's the thing. Let's go over who wrote the first movie, because it's actually very interesting. Who was involved in the writing of Wonder Woman 1? I wonder who it could be.
I know, Zach.
Yeah, exactly. Now, again, Zach's absence in this movie is not the be all end all for why this movie bombed. I'm just saying, if you look at the differences,
if you're talking about Heinberg having a great run, he had an arc. That's not a run.
And he had a good arc. I'll give him that. It wasn't the best.
I just wanted to make that correction. There is a distinction.
Yeah. So because I thoroughly enjoyed, I think he did Who is Wonder Woman?
Yeah, he did. He did the 1 year later story we went over,
which I really liked. But anyway, so these criminals show up and they're robbing like a jewelry store or that is a front for like an artifact store or something like that. And all right, so Wonder Woman shows up and they do the whole really stereotypical like no, and then Wonder Woman shows up. I'm like, what the? I'm like, this is the most it's the most cartoon. It's one of the most cartoony movies, like where she throws that guy through the drum and he's like spinning. And I'm like, I get it, but this is one of the occasions where you really don't want to do that. I'm right. No. So then we get all right. So then you get what amounts to all right.
A monkey's paw with the wishing.
Now the monkey's paw again. That could have been a fantastic. Again, the bare bones of the plot of this movie is awesome. That's why when I heard the idea, when I heard the basic plot and the marketing, I was like, "Oh, this sounds great!"
Especially when it's an alternative to having Max having his psychic mental powers.
Not only that, it plays off with Diana. The world comes first. That's the only part about this movie I liked.
Can I say one thing? When it let's just jump to the Steve thing.
I'm getting there. It's literally right there.
Yep.
Now, the other part I liked about this pretty much was Kristen Wiig as Barbara Minerva. That was okay. I wasn't against her.
I was impressed. I expected. I'm just like, she's mostly a comedian.
Yeah, but she's still doing the comedy part about it, but it's not as like obnoxious as you would think it is. Of like some of the some of those actresses that have gone on to do like more serious movies. And her friendship with Diana is pretty good. I know there was one Twitter account, and Robert knows exactly who it is because we had interaction with this person yesterday that claimed that the original idea in the script, Patty wanted Cheetah and Wonder Woman to be in a relationship, and that was never the idea.
No,
that was never the idea. So anyway,
why do people assume that?
That was never the idea. It's also like Patty saying Wonder Woman will go through temptations, and I go, that could mean literally anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Wonder Woman makes the wish, and obviously because the subplot of the movie is that she misses Steve Trevor. This is where the movie starts to fall apart because Diana is a sad sack because a man died. Honestly, when Tom King said that he was inspired by this movie, all of it makes sense.
Now, I want to say one thing. This whole idea of someone possessed, living on through the body in another one, that is very much an 80s or early comic type of idea. It's just something that obviously would not be done, should not have been done today because of the implications.
Yes, because she claimed that like she was trying to do a nod to Big, and I go, you can't do that nowadays. The sensibilities has just changed.
There's a reason why you can't do a lot of the racial stuff or the here's one. Naked Gun 3. Anna Nicole Smith, the big gag is revealed. She looks hot, but then pulls down her pants.
Oh, by the way, it's not necessarily the Steven having the body. It's what Diana does with that body. But anyway, so
again, nothing of the implications.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that. So the way that it works, so what happens is the stone grants her wish, but slowly as we learn, it starts to take away her powers. Has been done. Cool. That's something. And then we see Maxwell Lord is like an oil tycoon that hasn't dug up oil. So
Donald Trump.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, no, 80s Donald Trump, not evil President Donald Trump, which that I can accept them going with that because let's be honest, you think 80s business, you're saying Trump.
Yeah, but I'll get into that later. So continuing on, it's like, so he essentially cons Barbara into letting him into the office because he donates money to like a wing of the Smithsonian. He takes the wishing stone and becomes the wishing stone. Yep. And I'm like, okay, that's something to explain the manipulation powers, and they even got his nose bleed. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. Yeah, that's a unique way to do it.
I like.
Here's this fatal flaw of this movie. Too much happens in this movie that you can't ignore in the subsequent films in the DCEU. We'll get into that. Trust me.
Especially with this being set as a interquill.
Oh, trust me. There is the way this movie goes. There's no way that this should not have been a pass. This could have been a pretty decent, like, modern day movie, but no. Anyway, so
you know part of the reason why they did it for Perez.
Oh, yeah, but
that's part of the reason why.
It's an insult to Perez. Anyway, so Diana goes to a ball, and of course, all the men are sleazy. This is the other drastic change that this made. The men are all of a sudden so sleazy with women, except for Steve Trevor, because he shows up and he's inhabiting the body of another dude. All right, here's the thing. Here's where this starts to fall apart. Diana then sleeps with this man. And
again, you're just telling me that back in the old days, when you didn't think about the implications, it could make sense, but you cannot avoid the implications now.
Yeah,
you know that I'm not wrong, right? Back in the old days, they did this frequently.
Yeah, and it's like, again, big. That's what Patty was going for. It's just, again, it's like you can't. The sensibilities are different. You can't creatively do the same things that you could get away with back then.
Exactly.
It's like, again, there's no way they could do a comic where Lois did blackface nowadays.
No.
There's no way. As hilarious as that would be.
Or again, the Naked Gun 3 joke. You cannot do a joke about a girl just because the punchline is, oh, this babe has a know what.
You know what you're talking about.
I know. It's like, no, you can't do that. Because even that's a joke where I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I was slapping my forehead before the slapping forehead moment.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You know what meme I'm talking about, right?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know.
That's where it's from. That's where that's from with the third Naked Gun.
So Diana goes on an investigation of trying to find the stone. So essentially, they sneak into Maxwell Lord's office while he's in what essentially is Palestine, and essentially they find out that like the god is like the god that when you make a wish, it's like it takes something from you, like Diana's powers because she's getting weaker and such.
In the case of Max, it's his humanity.
Oh, yeah. And Barbara, she makes a wish on the stone that basically says, I wish I were like Diana. Obviously not knowing who Diana really is.
Oh, yeah. That was, which I'll be honest,
that's not bad either.
That tracks. Now,
that's definitely
her second transformation makes no sense.
We'll talk about that. Well, it's the second wish, and there's Willie. He's going, okay. Oh, no! He's spelling out Tom King, you a-hole! Anyway.
Wait. Is that K? Tom?
Yeah, there you go.
But what's with the other K?
I have no idea. Typo. William, why did you stick to stealing my content? I'm only kidding, brother. But, all right, so.
But anyway, again, how's this? Would the Steve thing could have worked if they dropped the sex moment?
Yeah, that's fine. That's where it crosses the line. But
and everything else is fine.
Well, not only that, Robert, it's the overly attachment to Steve Trevor. Like all of a sudden, she shirks her responsibilities. She's a depressed sad sack the entire time. Now, again, she would mourn, but she wouldn't mourn for centuries.
Now, I think that's playing off of what was implied that his death is what led to her, and that's the reason why she never got back involved.
Yeah, but here's the other part about it. You know why Patty wanted to keep bringing Steve back? Because reportedly that would have been another plot line of Wonder Woman 3. Because Steve's a pilot, and Patty Jenkins' father was a fighter pilot.
And that's why they wanted her to work on Star Wars The Star Wars Rogue Squadron.
Yeah, it's a self-insert, brother. That's what it is.
Okay, I mean, well, no, that's not a self-insert. That's more of a writing what you know to the extreme.
No. But she's doing that because of who her father is. That's why she keeps bringing Steve back.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There was a funny meme that came out that's like, oh, she got fired from Rogue Squadron because they wouldn't let her bring Steve Trevor into it. Oh, I like that. That's fine. That's a new 52 thing. And even, well, actually, that's more of a new 52.
Which then who worked on that part?
Well, yeah, that worked. And again, it's short of that one scene in Justice League. Oh, yeah. Wonder Woman 1884, Gadot's Wonder Woman without Snyder involved really showed. And we'll talk about that later, that effect. Because that was one of the reasons. Not the main reason why the movie failed, but it's one of the reasons.
Like I said, there's a lot of... Here's the one thing I have to wonder.
Yeah.
How much of this, because Patty was involved with the writing as well. And I know we like to put a lot of blame on Jeff, but how much of it was just Patty not being that good of a writer?
Yeah, because here's the thing. You saw this with Thor and Taika Waititi. So here's what happened with Hollywood, apparently. The director has a smash hit movie, like Wonder Woman and like Thor Ragnarok. And then the studio is like, why don't you write the next one as well?
Yep. Or with the video games.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just...
Okay, now here's the thing, though. She has written well. Monster, she wrote.
Yeah, but again, it's like... So, continuing on. So then you get...
I can see why they felt, oh, she can write this. Clearly not.
And then Barbara starts to become... Barbara's innocence is taken away. Her kindness. And I'm like, that is cool. Oh, this would have been cool if they used, instead of Maxwell Lord, Veronica Cale.
That would have worked, but I could also see what I went with Max.
Yeah, refresh you. She wasn't in the DCEU, if that's what you're asking for. That's what you're asking. But anyway, so they somehow take a plane from the... So apparently the Smithsonian has fueled up jets.
Okay, I'll be honest, that's also an 80s nod.
And then Wonder Woman all of a sudden can turn the jet invisible.
Again, I think, here's the thing. I think, again, like the whole having the thing in the jet and all that, I think that's the reason why they went with 84 to make it clear. This is a throwback to the 80s.
Yeah, but here's the problem with that. Why doesn't she do any of these? Why doesn't she do any of these feats in Justice League or Batman versus Superman?
That's true.
Yeah, that's why. That's the problem with this being a prequel. You then have to explain why did she do this in the subsequent movies?
Because it's all, I know, because it's like it's all retconning. This is retconning. This is retconning.
There is one thing in this movie that makes this not be able to work in the DCEU. We'll explain that later. Fundamentally opposing. So Barbara starts being like, so the idea is that Barbara has to, and essentially this stone is what like caused the Incas to vanish and stuff. In other words, it's destroyed civilization.
Yep.
Barbara doesn't want to give up her powers. Diana starts to realize she may have to. Well, actually, after Steve saying you have to let me go because you're losing your powers and the world comes first. While I like the world comes first thing, I don't like Steve having to remind Diana that the world comes first.
I know.
Again, it's Steve telling Diana who Diana is, and I'm like, again, this says Tom King written all over it.
That was it. Now, the moment of her running off was one of Gal's better moments.
Yeah. Now, here's the thing. The Max Lord, you must give me the stone part. I did chalk that up to bad directing, because if you notice, after this movie, that's when people started to bash her acting, and I'm like, you loved her in Wonder Woman 1.
Yep. Kal-El, no, that too.
Well, again, it's like a bad take and stuff. Well, here's the thing. If you notice, if you look at it in Zack Snyder's Justice League, it's sped through. So it's like, it's not like it lingers on it.
But yeah, here's the other issue. Patty was given a tour license for the movie.
Yeah, that's the other.
And again, that's what happens when you give a director more freedom.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm sorry, I say that for any case. It's like a gamble. Look at Joker 2. Joker 2 is going to go down in history. That's the biggest reason why you don't do that.
Yeah, exactly. So the subsequent half of the DCEU is why you don't do that. Anyway, So then you get to the scene where we learn about Astoria, and Diana apparently had this whole surveillance system set up, which is why, Robert, I say there's no way someone did not get her set up on cameras, because where are all these cameras that Diana's watching?
Yep.
So then we get the introduction of the golden armor, and I like this idea of the golden armor and the way it's done, and it's depicted so well in this. So I'm like, okay, that's cool.
And you also have the fact that who wore it beforehand?
Linda Carter. And I'm like, okay, I like that.
What the joke set up earlier about her doing some incredible feat of strength, like, cover here or whatever. It's just like.
Yeah. So then you get to the White House scene, which again is interesting. And then Barbara, and throughout the whole thing, Barbara is wearing like cheetah print clothing. If they had just done that, I would have gone, okay, because let's be honest, doing a cat effects is not going to look good, as we will learn.
But here's the big question: is it worse than cats?
I think it's on par with cats.
True, but I would say it's a little better because of it's more comic booky.
Yeah. So then Barbara attacks Diana, and then we see Diana's weak, so she needs to say goodbye to Steve. And I like this part. This is very emotional.
That's the part I'm talking about. Yeah,
it's some of what Gal Gadot's best acting is in this one scene. And I hate how this scene keeps getting. Oh wait, this is where it gets very stupid. This is why it can't fit in the DCEU. Max starts granting everyone's wishes, and the world goes to hell. No one mentioned the fact that nukes were in the air.
Now here, the only way I can think of it is somehow when they relinquished the wishes, it undid a lot.
But the world is still destroyed. That's the thing.
I agree.
I'm like, that's why it doesn't work as a prequel, because no one mentions this in Man of Freaking Steel.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's why you really have to be careful of this. And it's kind of funny. To that point, Robert, the way they could have fixed this is make it that when you undo the wishes, it undoes everything subsequent from the wishes. But they didn't do that.
That's what I was expecting when I saw it.
Nothing that would have worked. And I'm like, okay, you thought of that. That's fine.
By the way, I just read up. You want to know why? Part of the other reason why Patty refused to do Wonder Woman 3?
What?
She wasn't going to get as much creative freedom as she did this time around.
That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
And of course, Patty said she enjoyed working on this film more than the first. Gee, wonder why?
Yeah, because you could do whatever the hell you wanted. It's funny.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. And then Wonder Woman gets the golden armor, which I love. And it's really well done. The wings are shields and stuff. I love this. So then Barbara gets a second wish because she asked because Maxwell Lord goes, I can grant you another wish. I'm the stone after all.
Or he can pass on all of the energies he's absorbed into her or something like that. And
the idea is that she says, I want to be an apex predator. And that translates to her being a crazy cat lady.
And you know what the word part is? She just basically becomes her and his muscle.
Yeah, and I'm like, either of these could have worked as the primary antagonist for the movie.
The other thing that could have worked if Max was more evil, but he's too sympathetic.
Yeah, exactly, and he's not Maxwell Lord. Because
not even International Max.
Not even because they start off as International Max, and he's good as International Max, but then they try and go to the evil Max. But no, I thought they were going to do the Wonder Woman has to kill him thing.
But here's the thing: once you give him a son, you realize you can't go too far. You cannot go.
Mm-hmm.
That was the worst part. You knew they couldn't go too far because of his son.
When the kid's like, "Daddy, come back," and I'm like, "Oh my God, you're not even doing Maxwell Lord justice." Well, yeah, pun intended. So she shows up, and she fights Cheetah. Shocks her and then knocks her out. That's the other thing. The fight against Cheetah, one of Wonder Woman's most iconic villains, is over in 2 seconds.
Again, what the hell?
And then she walks into the base to talk to Maxwell Lord, and she's being battered about by wind. Wonder Woman at the peak of her powers now.
Mm-hmm.
She has her powers back. What?
Wind.
Windy. No, There are some stories where she is not an enforcer, Cameron. That's the thing. Most of the time, she's not an enforcer. She is a threat.
She can, though. Now she can be.
She can be, but not. That's
but not here. Not here.
That's the thing. In the King run, let's talk about that real quick. If he had, instead of having Grail be the muscle, make Cheetah, that would have worked. Because I'm like, yep, she's a type of good
but that's because after having all the years of animosity towards Diana.
Yeah, exactly.
In the beginning, she should not be a lackey.
Yeah, exactly.
As it goes on, and when she's like, oh yeah, I'll jump in if I get a crack at her.
So then Wonder Woman somehow gets the lasso of truth around somehow Maxwell Lord also has wind powers. And I go, are you Cyclone now? What are you doing?
Something about how the more wishes he gained more power.
But they never explained that. That's why.
That's the other reason. Yeah, exactly. That's right here. It's Max sharing some of the cost of his granted wishes to her. They never set that up.
Yeah, and I'm like, you never explain that. It's like, I feel like a lot of this is just people trying to justify this movie's BS plot. So this is the good part. This is the other good part about the movie, and a great Wonder Woman acting by Gal Gadot. When she has the lasso of truth around his leg and she's talking to everyone else saying, you have to renounce your wish.
And they do.
And they do, but again,
that's a Superman moment.
Yeah, and we all of a sudden we hear the Batman versus Superman Martha music, and I really dug that because, like, yeah, it's about like truth.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I had to.
I'm gonna say I will say this movie is more of a disappointment than it is trash.
Yeah, it's not trash. Like, I'll still rewatch it if I need.
Birds of Prey is trash.
Birds of Prey is definitely. Of the two, this is Zack Snyder's Justice League level of goodness.
Yeah, of the two.
Of the two. Let me be very clear on this. Don't clip this. I mean it of the two.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a disappointment. I don't know if that's worse or not.
Yeah, because here's the thing. When you take the first movie into account, the first movie was one of the best superhero movies ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was good with critics. Duh, because it was written with critics in mind.
Here's the thing. Don't take the critics as any, like, indicator of if movies are good, because likely they're not comic book fans. It's like, Robert, one of the criticisms that a critic had with Man of Steel was that he didn't change in a phone booth.
In the first Reeve movie, they already proved why you're not even able to do that.
No, but don't tell this person that. Don't tell this.
By the way,
person.
can I go to one other issue? Now that I think about it, going back to with Barbara, he did not do a good job making her feel like ugly or anything at the beginning. And you're just like, the only reason why she doesn't have any friends is because the plot said so.
At least put pimples all over her, like.
It's what they call Hollywood homely, and she's ugly because the plot says so.
Yeah, and I'm like,
one of the cases of where they did in the production, they did such a good job at making the actress homely because no one had seen her in act before that everyone was like, "Oh God, come on, I could be better than her." And then when she transformed in the movie, that was the first time everyone saw how she normally looked.
Yeah, exactly.
Anne Hathaway in Princess Diaries.
Mm-hmm.
That was the case where everyone, when they saw her the way she looked, that was a legitimate reaction. No one had ever seen how she normally looked before. So when they saw her in the ugly appearance, they thought that's how she was normally looking.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the issue there. But it's like,
I don't buy it.
Now, if you had made her where, like, she's clumsy, like Reeves Clark Kent, and that's what they're going for, that's one thing. It's like, okay, I can kind of buy that.
Yeah, but I think the classes were not dorky enough.
And then, of course, here's the other problem with this movie. Because in the first movie, what was one of the praises I gave to it? The men didn't feel useless or like idiots. In this, they're either all sexual assaulters or idiots.
Which I think that part, now that I could chalk up to Patty's writing, I'm certain.
That's Patty. That is definitely
Jeff would not do that.
Yeah, exactly. Case in point. I'll see you around, Pika.
See you, Pika. Wait, have it be Dr. Psycho? No. Psycho would be worse. Max made sense.
Yeah, exactly. So then you get to, all right. So that's the issue. It's because it's like Barbara is going for a run, and she happens to run into like this perv that had hit on her, and then she beats him up. And I go, yeah, that's the message we want to be teaching young girls.
I was thinking that too. Now, wait, why not use Grail for? I think that was the rumor.
Well, here's the thing. At this point, okay, so I'll talk to that. It's like, do you know what's the outward reasoning why the New Gods movie was canceled?
Why?
What WB said is because Zack used Darkseid in Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Oh boy, that whole thing again.
That's why. So that's why they did not want to use Grell, because remember, the Snyder Cut had already been greenlit at this point. It had been announced. This is the end of 2020 when this movie came out.
Right.
So you have to take that into account. And it's like, yeah, Grail would have worked out actually fantastic. Unless you want to take away her being the daughter of Darkseid, but you can't because that's kind of vital to her character.
Yeah, but
I'm just like, wait, that just sounds lazy for lazy WB? No.
Yeah, especially back then.
Or it's like so with Martian Manhunter at the end of the Snyder Cut, that was supposed to be like, I think it was like Jon Stewart Green Lantern, and Zack had filmed it. WB said no because they had plans for Green Lantern. Even though they made it clear this movie was not canon to their universe. And guess what happened to that Lantern show? It never came out.
Or got reworked into Lanterns.
But that's why. So when you look at a lot of like WB thinking at this time, this is old idiot WB.
Yes, we got to remind people of that.
This is the stupid WB that everyone complained about. I wanted to
No.
They can't. She is the daughter of Darkseid. They can't separate her from that.
You can't. Otherwise, she's just generic Amazonian villain, and you got dozens of those.
Yeah, they could have connected the movie to the Snyder Cut. Well,
Snyder wasn't even out yet. But no, it came out at the same time, but they couldn't rework it for that.
And yeah, exactly. And that's too. Let me put it this way, Cameron. That's too much work for WB, for old WB at the time.
To be fair, at that point when they were both coming out, that would have been too much work for anyone, because that would have been too last second.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah,
can we acknowledge that? That would have been too last second to try and add connections to the Snyder Cut, because when they were in production and a little bit before release, they had no idea the Snyder Cut was going to be done.
Yeah, Ross, they could have gotten rid of Alan Heinberg. They should have gotten rid of Alan Heinberg writing the script.
He didn't write the second movie.
He didn't write this one. He wrote the first one that everyone likes. So you're okay with her being Darkseid's lackey?
He's his daughter.
And she's not his lackey. If anything, she like killed him in Darkseid War.
And then brought him back for whatever reason.
And then brought him back as a lackey. So she made Darkseid a lackey. She's not his lackey.
No. She made him a lackey, then brought him back in the Wonder Woman stuff later on.
Yeah. They shouldn't have. Okay. It means they shouldn't have taken out. Yeah. Let's talk about that. Because here's the thing. One of the factors that you immediately detect here is the absence of Zack Snyder's influence and Alan Heinberg, the two creatives, along with Patty, let's be clear, but from a writing perspective, the two creatives that were very key into making Wonder Woman 1 the success it was.
Exactly. And Heinberg, now be fair, Heinberg is always doing a whole bunch of other stuff all over. So it could have been a case of where he just wasn't available.
And also here's the other part you guys have to understand. This was old WB that was trying to completely forget that Zack Snyder even existed.
Yep.
This is the petty WB.
The only reason why Snyder Cut was done was not because of WB.
Yeah, AT&T legit told them, it's like, you're doing this. Release the damn movie. And then here's how big of a petty. Do you know, after the Snyder Cut came out, we were supposed to get a sequel, but Toby Emmerich, who was head of WB at the time, took over Warner Max, which was the company that was going to distribute the new Justice League movies, and shut it down so they couldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And by New 52, and surprisingly, John's the only writer that displayed Cheetah. Yeah, I know.
Now, here's the thing, Cheetah is not always able to solo her. In fact, that's more of a case when she got an upgrade for that. Pre-New 52, she was strong, but never that strong.
Yeah, but I will say, Rocket did a great story where it's like I think it's like her and Reverse Flash team up and
Oh yeah, that was
blindfolded
that was
Wonder
along
Woman.
the same time with Action Comics.
Yeah, I love that one. Yeah, I hate to say it, but without, yeah, exactly. It's like when you take away everything, every bit of Snyder's influence, because even the Sword and the Shield, and I think Patty said the reason the Sword and the Shield was out because she didn't want Diana to be like too much of a warrior.
Which fair.
But it's like you can't all of a sudden like completely get rid of that.
I did like how we got more of the lasso.
Yeah, and I'm like the scene where the Secret Service guys are shooting at her and she's twirling the lasso. That was cool.
And now, Giganta would have been too. I hate to say it, literally too big.
Too CGI intensive for this film.
It was not doing enough CGI going on as it is.
Yeah. So, and then again, what I always say, they should have gotten rid of the cat Cheetah thing, and just because there are versions of Cheetah where she's not a cat lady, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or at least do what they did in the comics now, where it's like she has cat parts, like a tail and stuff. That was
hasn't so far.
She didn't have godlike speed. Do you think he will give? No, Cheetah and Cheshire. A, that's not his choice, and B, that's the most surface level story he could do.
And also, you don't want to OP the villains like that all the time.
And Ross says, to me, it feels like they replaced a comic book writer on the second movie, Jeff Johns, who just doesn't know the character the way Heinberg does. His action is ACC writing good Wonder Woman comics before, unlike John. Yeah, I think what he's trying to say is Heinberg has actually written good ones. Yeah.
Well, you haven't written one good one, but I'll agree.
Now, let me be clear. Robert and I are some of the biggest Jeff Johns fans around. We will admit there's one character this man cannot write.
Okay, unless he recreates it from the ground up.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. For most of New 52 Justice League, Diana's written well until you get to that one panel in Trinity War where it's like, when I deal with my villains, I deal with them, and I go, Cheetah does have, not always.
Not always.
In fact, there's a speedster chart that shows she's not as fast as the speedster. Plus, she can't beat the speed. Even Superman is not as fast as a speedster.
Exactly. She beaten them before because she was given speed by Zoom. Not Reverse Flash, Zoom. And Zoom can share his stuff because technically his speed is temporal. So he can share it. Yeah, so it's very different. Now, to be clear, I want to be clear on this. Cheetah is not anything to scoff at. Cheetah's a great villain and very fast in of herself, but she's not as fast as any of the Flashes. Without an outside interference. Yeah, exactly. But even in the Justice League story where she first showed up in Throne of Atlantis, she was like enhanced by a god. Mm-hmm. Is given Cheetah's speed is given by a god. Yeah, but even what? Here's an example. Wonder Woman has the speed of Hermes. She's not as fast as the Flash. Right. Yeah. That's the thing. Let me put it this way. We're talking about Zoom gave her an upgrade. Yeah, we're talking about the power, about having the ability, being super fast, or having the ability to literally run so fast you can change time. The only thing you can say is if you go by the Death Battle method of scaling, since Cheetah is slightly faster than Wonder Woman, that would say she's faster than Wonder Woman doing the Shattered God feat. Yeah, and again, even on that, Wonder Woman is not as fast as Barry Allen, so that's where I'm like, no, because Cheetah cannot change time. There's a reason why Quicksilver is slower than the Flash. Okay, I got a better way of this right here. Here's the thing: the Flash is always holding back. Yeah, exactly. So if Cheetah was able to beat him, it's because she got a lucky opportunity and a greater speed. But that doesn't mean she was faster than them. Yeah, exactly. It's because she had an opening and the Flash fumbled. Now, here's the other. Speaking of speed, actually, that's a great transition, Robert. Cheetah's speed, even her regular speed, is not translated at all in this movie. No, again, Cheetah. I'll say Cheetah was handled better than other comic book villains in movies, but not as great as others. She's right in the middle. I would put this Cheetah right in the middle of adaptation handling of a villain.
Yeah, I would say so. And again, her arc is pretty decent. It's not a bad arc. Also, remember when Steve Trevor piloted a plane into a fireworks display and it didn't shoot down the plane? Because you guys realize that fireworks is literally launching a rocket in the sky.
Yep.
I'm like, no. Oh, by the plane has enough fuel to go to Egypt and back.
Did I make a wish?
That's the part, Robert. Well, you would need to be with Maxwell Lord in order to make the wish because he was the stone at that point.
By the way, Ross makes a decent point right there.
I've always taken the difference as Cheetah isn't connected to Speed Force, so she can't time travel or anything, but she can run as fast. She's not just as fast as the Flash. Close to it, but not as fast.
She's faster than Wonder Woman. We can acknowledge that.
Yeah, exactly. Superhero speed chart. Because there was this great chart that really explained it. It was this great visual.
Yep, I see it.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Share screen.
Hold on. Let me just get a separate image. Hold on.
Yeah, that's fine because it perfectly explained the speed idea.
Yep, got it. Well. I got it right here. Hold on. It is. Yep.
It is. It's loading. Yeah, that's exactly the one.
This is all for Flash War. This is all for Flash War.
See, exactly.
So Wally, Barry, Reverse Flash, Superman, Black Racer. So Superman's faster than death. Ha! Cheetah, Wonder Woman, Godspeed, Shazam, and Kid Flash.
Also, so Shazam, who has the speed of Hermes, just like Wonder Woman. Still,
Wonder Woman probably has a little bit faster because of all of her other powers.
Yeah, that's true. Again,
and her training.
That's my point. She's not as fast as the Flash.
Yeah. So again, Cheetah may be again. That's the reason why I said it needed. Wait, they can theoretically because they tap into the speed. As you know, Wallace has never time traveled.
Neither has Godspeed.
Godspeed Barry needed Godspeed's help to time travel.
Yeah, exactly. The Dreamstone is part of Sandman. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That I can believe. But like I said, yeah, Wallace has never time traveled on his own, or if he did, no, he technically did during the Lazarus Protocol. But that was then tapping into the Speed Force, and he was really pushed to his limit. Normally, he can't do it. And Godspeed needed Barry's help. Yeah,
exactly. So take that into account. It's okay to admit that some superheroes aren't as fast. That's totally fine.
Yep, but yeah, Cheetah. Now, here's what I think. Cheetah's only slightly faster than Diana, not significantly.
I could go with that. I could believe that. And again, they both have powers from gods. I'm not discounting that.
Right. But again, back to Superman's faster than Black Racer.
I think it's a neck and neck thing because if you look with the scythe there, it's about where Superman.
Now here's the other thing is you gotta remember about Superman. He's fastest when he's flying. His running speed nowhere near close.
No, nowhere near.
It says flying.
Cameron says not to be that guy, but is it still accurate? I would say there's nothing that has contradicted this as far as I know.
And again, this is just only a couple of years ago. It's not like this is from Wizard Magazine.
It's not like I took it from like Flashpoint.
No, this is from 6 years ago. That is pushing it a little bit.
Yeah,
but nothing has none of these characters have gotten any power upgrades since.
Yeah, so that's where I'm like, nothing has contradicted this in the past. And again, this isn't the only chart that we could pull up. I'm just using this because it's the most handy visual we have.
And Joshua Williams is so involved with DC, so I think he has some say.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, I agree with Debbie. I just realized, oh my God, this was 6 years ago.
Yeah, I know. Oh, God.
Like, don't you feel old? Not
as old as you do.
Trust me, anytime someone brings about Star Wars Episode 1, I groaned. Not because of the movie, but because I was like, I was in high school when that came out.
Mm-hmm. Yep, join the club. Yeah, exactly. The only character who got powered up recently was...
But even that doesn't increase its speed.
Yeah, exactly. Not a speed upgrade. There's a difference there.
Somehow the White Sun was able to cause him to cross great distances, but Again, his speed is almost incalculable, like the Flash's, but they're just a little bit faster because of the speed. Superman is the fastest being without the Speed Force.
Mm-hmm.
Can we agree to that?
What?
Superman is the fastest being without the Speed Force.
Yes, I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Hands down, he is the fastest being alive without the Speed Force. Once you add the Speed Force into the equation, all bets are off.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why, again, the Flashes are the fastest beings, particularly Barry and Wally, because
Wally is the fastest, yes.
Well, Wally is definitely the fastest. That is 100% true.
He is the master of the Speed Force. Barry creates it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the point there that I want to bring up there. But it's like, again, her enhanced speed is nowhere. Wonder Woman's speed is in this 100% sure. Yeah, they showed that fine. That's the part that's really annoying. There's so much good in this movie.
Again, I would say this. I think 60% of a good movie. No, it's not even a contest.
Yeah, if they're flying.
Even if they're Wonder Woman. To be fair, Wonder Woman. I think her flight speed is. I'll say this: while she and Cheetah are neck and neck, her and Clark, it's much bigger. Mm-hmm. I'll say this: Diana's arm speed and reaction speed is faster than her actual movement speed.
I would say so. Ross asks, "Why is Superman faster than the Kryptonians?" He's not.
If anytime he is, it's because of his experience and training.
Because you could technically say that Kara's faster because she's better at metabolizing solar radiation.
Actually, Globe made it clear why there was that belief. It's because Superman had grew up into his powers, whereas the moment she showed up, I'm fully powered. She never had time to adjust.
That's understandable.
But I'll give you that. I'll say this. Wonder Woman's reaction speed is probably on par with Superman.
Ross says, so Supergirl and Power Girl are evenly matched with him? I would say evenly matched. Could be because they're both Kryptonians.
So when was that? You're taking that all the fighting comment into the wrong way, NJ. When we never who would win a fight.
Yeah.
A race is completely different.
Winning a fight is different than winning a race, because if you win a fight, there's other things that the character can do. Like there's stuff in Wonder Woman's arsenal, and there's precedence for her to beat, like, let's say, Thawne.
Yeah. Whereas a race, it's like, unless they get interrupted, and then, which neither one would want to say, I continue to fight and won and left the disaster bot going. No, they wouldn't do that.
Yeah, and by the way, Tevia asked, honestly, the only good thing I like this movie is Wonder Woman's arm. Yeah, the Kingdom Come Over was great.
And Linda Carter's cameo.
Yeah, Ross asked, what about John Kent?
Yes.
Yes, it does. And that was the problem with, like, let's say a certain writer named Tom Taylor saying that John is as powerful, if not more powerful, than Clark. And I go,
I'd say maybe after Lazarus with his upgrade, the electric powers, but beforehand, no.
He's not. He's because he's not a pure Kryptonian. One of them has the speed of a god. She should be treated as such.
But even that god only has a limit.
And also, Superman has been faster than gods before.
Same with the Flashes. The fact that the Flashes are, hey, you know who else is a god on that list?
Shazam.
No, even higher up on the list.
Who?
Black Racer.
He's a new god, so that counts.
He's a god, and he's a god of death.
Mm-hmm.
And Black Racer is faster than Hermes.
Yeah, exactly.
But who's faster than Black Racer? Superman.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's slower than Black Racer? Wonder Woman.
Connor Kent, same thing. Same thing as John.
Yep.
Same thing as John. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, just saying that someone has the speed of a god doesn't mean jack compared to the Speed Force.
There are plenty of characters that have the speeds of gods, but aren't as fast as Superman. Let me put it to you that way. Like Shazam, again, Shazam has the speed of Hermes.
So saying, but the fact that Wonder Woman is still faster than him.
Yeah, Perez era old gods are on another level, though, and that's the era with the most Hermes characterization. Yeah, still. I know Robert's a Superman fan, but
we both are.
He should not be faster than Greek god speed. this isn't just us like being fanboys of Superman. I mean, you know me, I'm a fan of Wonder Woman. I'm a bigger fan of Wonder Woman than I am of Superman. Even I can tell you Superman's faster.
And here's the other thing, NJ. Just because he's a Greek god speed does not mean he's like speed incarnate. Because
arguably that's probably Barry because he created the Speed Force.
Which, I'll be honest, I never cared for that retcon, to be fair. I never cared for that one. But I'm saying, no, just because you're a god of speed does not mean you are like, no one's faster than you, especially when it's been made clear. There's plenty of beings faster than Hermes.
Which, here's the thing. What is a god but just another metahuman?
Yeah, so in other words, you could say, you can make the argument Hermes is faster than anyone normal humans. Doesn't mean there aren't people above him.
Let me put it this way. You can make the argument that Flash is a god.
Yeah, but like I said, the Black Racer is faster than Hermes.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Because the Black Racer, because you know what else the other form of the Black Racer is? The Black Flash.
Oh, and also, it's everybody's a good point. When Superman beat the crap out of Apollo, God.
Yep, exactly.
Just because they're God, because again, Superman could be taken as a god, Wonder Woman could be taken as a god. The God part does not necessarily go to like they're leagues above the Justice League.
Exactly. Theoretically, they could, but they're not. They're always shown as either not, mostly as not being. That's a big difference between Marvel and DC. I've noticed is that Marvel, Zeus and the others, like Zeus, could beat the crap right out of the Hulk.
Apollo is the source of his power. A big difference.
Okay, so Apollo didn't create the sun.
No, he didn't. And like Apollo being the god of the sun, he still beat Clark around a few times before he tried the sun powers.
Here's something else you gotta look at this way. The Greek gods are not the only gods.
Yeah, Darkseid, Grail, Orion, Lightway.
What's it called for the actual god? The presence. You have the presence. That shows. So in other words, there has to be a ranking.
Yeah.
So yes, Apollo is not the sun god above all. There's also the Egyptian sun gods. Again,
exactly.
They just have the power of it, but they are not the.
I prefer when gods are portrayed on a level above. Ramvi and Perez portrayed this well. Okay, and that's totally fine, but we're just kind of me too. But that's just like Robert and I are just going off of what's currently the practices of DC.
Yeah, but yeah. That is what we're trying to say is that these beings, just because they are like the sun god or speed god, they're not the sole god.
Yeah, and again, you can make the argument that the Justice League are all gods. There's no what makes like the Justice League different from the Greek pantheon.
Exactly, and again, Apollo being the source, so that would imply Apollo could say, "I could just snap my fingers and show off all the suns across the universe." He can't.
He cannot do that. That would make him like a power level above anyone.
But he never shown because even in the Greek gods, they never had that power.
Well, it's like even on that, I guarantee you, if you like take Shazam fights Apollo to take away the fact that Apollo is the sun god, Shazam could probably beat up Apollo with all the other powers he has.
Exactly.
That's all I'm trying to say. That's all we're trying to say with that.
Exactly. Spectre. How many people can knock the spirit of vengeance around? Now, he's also a character that could be like, oh crap, it's the Spectre.
Yeah. Hey, Robert, what happened with Darkseid and the Spectre and All In?
They merged.
Yeah, because all that Darkseid had to do was make a wish machine.
Well, he used the miracle machine,
which was the wish machine thing.
Yeah. Which that is one of the most dangerous weapons to ever exist.
And it's also one of the most BS thing because it's like
blame the original Legion stuff.
Or Grant Morrison that's like, I'm just going to sing people to death. I wish Darkseid never took over.
Yeah, but to be fair, no, I'm telling you, that thing goes all the way back to pre-Crisis Legion, which is still canon.
Ah, okay.
That's what I'm saying. This is from Legion. The Miracle Machine actually existed. And then got eaten by Matter Eater Lad.
Yeah, exactly.
I know, dude, see what I just said. The machine got eaten.
Oh, God.
By Matter Eater Lad. It was like, ow.
But yeah, it's like, so all in all with Wonder Woman 1984.
Again, I give it a 6.
Yeah, 6 is appropriate because I'll still rewatch this occasionally. It's kind of funny. The Amazon stuff is fantastic. That's great.
Again, there is way more to like about this than there is Birds of Prey.
Oh, compared to Birds of Prey, again, it's a 10 out of 10 movie if we're comparing just those two.
Again, but it's the most frustrating. That's why we were groaning having to go into it. But I still got an entertainment out of it. How's this? Stand alone. It's not bad. Stand alone.
Yeah, because then the whole like
the plot holes aren't a part of it.
Yeah, the plot holes stop being like taken into account here.
But wait, 2 out of 5. That's kind of close to what we're giving because if you just multiply those by 2, you're getting what? No, you'd be giving out 4 out of 10. Never mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Still, but yeah, again, it's only up from here.
Yeah, for the most part, a lot of these movies are like great because this is where we start to get into. I see why people don't like these movies, but they have a lot more good in them.
Exactly.
So the next one is going to be, well, definitely jump The Suicide Squad.
Yep. Basically, where Gunn got his start here after being fired from Guardians.
Which, again, I enjoyed The Suicide Squad by Ross says, but Birds of Prey is a peak original Harley Quinn film, just a terrible Birds of Prey. It's not even good as that. Watch our previous stream on that.
Especially, Ross, I'm going to say this, Cassandra Cain.
That's all we got to say. That's all. Well, that's what he talks about with it being a bad Birds of Prey adaptation. Where we're saying even as a Harley Quinn movie, it's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's a good place to leave it. So as for Comics League, and so before we go, I'm going to play the Athena trailer one more time.
My home has been invaded, my people slaughtered, and I could not do anything to stop it. Not again. I will not lose another home, another family. I am Princess Lyra of the planet Sintragar, Athena, the goddess of thunder, and this is my story.
So I put the link in the chat where you guys can back it. And again, so just a little thing about pricing real quick. I just want to let everyone know that shipping will be like determined at when the campaign ends. So that way it's like the most accurate to like shipping costs that change all the time. So I just want to be very transparent about that. But Ross says, yeah. It's an OG. That's a good point. So, so again, back Athena, join Britt and I live at 9 tonight, where we're going to be talking about crossing over Wonder Woman and Superman with Aliens and Predators. We're going to talk about Aliens versus Predator. We're going to talk about the Predator and Aliens crossovers with DC characters. It's going to be really fun. And
there's also a book you're going to talk about as well, right?
Oh yeah, I'm going to also talk about. I'm going to be also reviewing Bomb Queen, and so I'm going to be reviewing Bomb Queen 1 because the way Britt and I are. I'll go into more details on this on the stream, but the way Britt and I are going to do our reviews from now on is that yes, we'll be covering like Absolute Superman and Absolute Wonder Woman and Tom King's Wonder Woman, obviously, but in addition to that, we're going to assign each other a book that the person has to read. It can be one they don't like or one they do like. Like I have Britt reading Jeremy Adams' Green Lantern, and so far from the notes, she's enjoying that. But so we got that, and for tomorrow for Amazon Answers, I'm going to be talking about John Byrne's Wonder Woman and talk about why it's an underrated classic. And yeah,
we'll have CLD and D tomorrow.
Yeah, CLD tomorrow at noon, where we're going to be talking about the DC solicits, a certain solicit that people misinterpreted. Robert knows and like and like a lot of DC comic stuff, and maybe a little bit of Halo. So Robert, how about you, my brother?
Well, you got my link down below. In about a little while, I'm going to be doing a stream for continuing my spooky season game of retro horror game as I do Trilby's Note from Yahtzee, done by Yahtzee Crawshaw, the guy from Zero Punctuation.
I take it he has zero punctuation in his thing. Otherwise, that's a missed opportunity.
No. He went on to do Zero Punctuation after that.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. But anyway, so yeah, and in the meantime, the other thing I really want to say is thank you to everyone that has backed Athena. I really appreciate it. I can't wait to share her with you. And if you haven't, let me put it this way: if you can't financially back it, that's totally fine. At least share the campaign to someone that maybe can and might enjoy it. It's written by me, drawn by Dawson, and it's a really fun project that he and I have been working on. So stay heroic, everyone. I'm just going to go off of this. Steve Trevor, Steve Never. He belongs at the bottom of a hydraulic press in the pits of Tartarus. Zois and Max about for life. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.